Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about Mr. Funnel made by Flow Tool. This model's F1NC. It's the 2.5 gallon per minute flow funnel. They make these in a lot of different sizes. This one I picked up for $10.99, and for $11 you can't beat it, and it works good for chainsaws, weed eaters, the lawnmower, etc. I picked this up the other day and I put 2 gallons of diesel fuel into the vent track behind me, and when I was done, I couldn't believe the little tiny dirt particles and some of the other stuff that were in the bottom of this funnel when I was done in just 2 gallons. So the other day I changed out the fuel filters on the tractor. I was starting to lose power a little bit. The vent track has 2 fuel filters. It's got the first one that's underneath the footboard of the tractor, the inline filter. It's right before the pump, your fuel pump, and then it's got a Raycor Parker filter and water separator located under the hood. Now, nice thing with Ventrac is they do put the Raycor fuel filter, the secondary filter with the water separator on there. A lot of compact tractors and stuff don't come with them. That's an upgrade that a lot of guys do. Reading forums. Really a nice thing to have. Ventrac doesn't go cheap when it comes to things like that. I'm glad they put it on there. But even with having a water separator, I'd still rather not get water in my tank in the first place. So that's where the Mr. Funnel comes through. Now the Mr. Funnel has a screen in here, and what this does is, I don't know how it works, but it separates out the water from your fuel and dirt as well. So this will work no matter if you got the gas model or the diesel. It doesn't really matter. And I don't just use this for the Ventrac, you know, having all the other garden tractors on hand and, you know, storing fuel for periods of time. I want to make sure I'm putting clean fuel in there to make sure everything's well. Now, I did buy some gas about 6 months ago because there was a winter storm coming through, and I try to only buy non-ethanol, but there's only one station locally that sells non-ethanol fuel, and I wasn't able to go there, so I bought just some regular pump gas. And I put some of that gas in the golf cart the other day, and that's what made me buy this funnel. It hasn't been running right since. There must be water in the fuel, so I'm gonna have to siphon it out and go get new fuel. So really nice to have one of these. I'm gonna go ahead and do some different scenarios, and we'll put this to the test and just see how it does filtering out dirt and water. Now they do make these funnels in different sizes, but I just wanted you guys to see, even with the 2.5 gallon per minute, that the flow rate's fine for smaller cans like this. All right, for the test to test the Mr. Funnel out. Here I got 8 ounces of diesel fuel that I put some dirt in to make it dirty. We're gonna pour that in, see if any dirt makes it through. After that, I got 8 ounces of somewhat clean diesel fuel we're going to pour through just to see if there's any dirt left in the funnel that would still go through. Then we're going to try 8 ounces of just gasoline, and then here I have 4 ounces of diesel fuel, as you can see, mixed with about 4 ounces of water. And here we have 4 ounces of gasoline mixed with 4 ounces of water. And then at the very end, I'm going to fill up 8 ounces of diesel fuel, and we'll put just a little bit of water in there, just a tad, for pretty much, if you had a 5 gallon can with a little bit of water, it wouldn't be extreme, to see how it filters out. Let me get the camera set up and let's get started. All right, when we do these tests and we're done putting everything through the funnel, I'm going to dump what's in the funnel into this container so we can see how much water or dirt was left in there. For the first test, I'm going to take and just pour water and fill up Mr. Funnel and see if any water goes through it. Now the Mr. Funnel is full, and there is no water coming out the other end of the funnel. So for pure water test, I'd say it works really well. All right, test 2, we're taking the diesel fuel with a bunch of dirt in it, and we'll see how it filters out dirt. There's one little piece of dirt in the dish, but I'm not sure if that was in there before I poured it in. But there is a lot of dirt on top of the Mr. Funnel. So for the next phase, we'll go ahead and dump the rest of the clean diesel in here and see if any dirt comes out still. All right, poured 8 more ounces of diesel in there, and there is really no dirt that made it through the Mr. Funnel. So when it comes to trapping dirt, I'd say it's a success. Now I had to bring it out here because the camera can't pick it up in there in the light, but that's all the dirt that's in the bottom there, sand and grit, and it filtered all that out. So let me clean this out and we'll continue on. All right, for the next test, we're gonna go ahead and dump 8 ounces of gasoline through the funnel. I'm going to go ahead and dump what's left in here and see if there's any water left behind. There was a little bit of water in that gas, so it does go to show that the gas that I did put in my golf cart did have a little bit of water in it, so it's probably a good thing to put it through the funnel. All right, for this test, I have 4 ounces diesel with 4 ounces of water. This is an extreme test. Let's see how this does. All right, the funnel still has a lot of water left in it. Looks like it has a little bit of fuel as well. That's what's left, a bunch of water. Unfortunately, a little bit of the water, if you can see that, did make it through the Mr. Funnel, but guys, not a whole lot. For as extreme as that was, there was a little water that passed through, but I think it did a pretty good job filtering most of it out. All right, moving on to the next phase. Here I have a cup, 4 ounces of gasoline mixed with 4 ounces of water. Go ahead and dump the water out of the Mr. Funnel. I think it did a pretty well job. Now with the gasoline, it looks like a little bit of water did get through still. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but there is a little bubble of water in there. But for being 50-50 mix, I think even with gasoline, it did quite well. Now to be fair, instead of doing an extreme test, what would happen if you had just a little bit of water in your fuel? So I have roughly 8 ounces of diesel fuel and 6 ounces of gasoline. We're gonna add just a little bit of water to each one of these, not much. Give this one a tad more. And that would simulate more realistically if you did have a little bit of water in your fuel. And you can see that would still be a pretty extreme amount in fuel, but we'll see how it filters this out. All right, I'm gonna go ahead with the diesel fuel with just a little bit of water in it, and let's see if any water passes through Mr. Funnel. Okay, so there was water left in the funnel afterwards. And unfortunately, there was a couple droplets that did get through there. There was a little bit, but it got the majority of it. So some water will still pass through, but it does trap quite a bit of it. Now let's go ahead and try the same test with the gasoline. All right, got about 6 ounces of gasoline with a little bit of water. We'll go ahead and put this through Mr. Funnel. Did a pretty good job filtering most of the water out. And in the gasoline, I do not see any water that's left in the gasoline. So few water droplets made it through the diesel, but it doesn't appear that any made it through the gasoline on that. So works pretty good on that. I'm not sure on the diesel if it would get it all out, but I still think it did pretty well. All right, so I tried to do as many different scenarios as I possibly could for you. Excellent on getting rid of the dirt. No dirt made it through Mr. Funnel. The diesel fuel, a couple water droplets here and there made it through, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with what it trapped. Didn't look like any made it through on the gasoline with the small water test, so that's really good. I'm going to continue to use the Mr. Funnel. If I can just filter out as much water as I possibly can, even with the gasoline, especially with this ethanol gas that, you know, draws in moisture if you have any of it. I think it's a good investment. For $10.99, I don't think you can beat it. For what fuel filters cost, if I could go an extra 6 months before changing fuel filters, that alone will pay for itself really quickly. There's a lot of videos on the Mr. Filter out there. I like doing one just to anyone that watches the channel or someone that hasn't seen one that might want to check it out. What did you guys think? Did it perform well? Go ahead and put it in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.